Hey, family. Hello, Remove Logic community. Welcome in to another episode of Remove Logic Show. I'm so excited again that you would join me again tonight on Remove Logic, and just want to give you time to hop on and let's just hang out tonight. For those of you who are just getting to know me and maybe coming in for the first time, welcome, 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 welcome to Remove Logic, the Remove Logic Show. Why Remove Logic? Because I believe God is not bound by logic or logistics. So I commonly say to you, remove logic. When you think about things that you want to do, things that maybe you are struggling with, oftentimes it's the logic that puts us in a trap and binds us from actually stepping into those things. So I want to say to you, if you are that person that's struggling, that has decided to make a decision, but you're stuck in a place of indecision, or you're saying that I can't and I'm not enough, then you've made it to the right place tonight. Remove Logic will explore your why with you. I give you solutions that probably will disrupt thinking patterns that you've had for a long time. And maybe you're seeking strategies. Well, then you've made it again to the right place. Welcome to Remove Logic Show. And I'm your host, Karen Ray Lacey. Again, if you're checking us out for the first time, I'm so glad that you joined tonight. And I want to invite you to check us out on Facebook, our YouTube channel. We air on Thursday nights on Fishbowl Radio Network. And then God has been so gracious to expand us to the Lit TV network. And I am so excited about that. And we air on Monday nights on Lit TV network. So, again, this is Remove Logic. To the Remove Logic community, those of you that are the faithful ones, I just say to you, thank you so much. And welcome again to another night of hanging out with me. And let's just dive into what God is wanting to talk about tonight. I want to say, as you see, I have a new do. And I want to shout out to my girl Rama at K&B Beauty Supply and Hair Braiding in Gerald, Texas. If you are anywhere in the Austin, Round Rock area, then I want to say to you, you should check her out. She's in Gerald, Texas. And I will be putting her information out on my page as well. But thank you, Rama, for hanging out with me last night and working on what you guys see is my new do for the holidays. It took a while, and boy, were we tired, but I'm so glad that she got me prepared for today's show. Again, that's K&B Beauty Supply and Hair Braiding in Gerald, Texas. Hey, Rama. Um, Tonight, I want to talk to you. Last week, we talked about entering in and stepping into your Joshua season. And I want to just expound on that tonight because I really have been digging deep into that. I'm excited about my new season. I don't know about you. Maybe you're that person that, again, like I said, is struggling. You're ready to step into that new season. Tonight's episode is for you. We're going to dig deeper into the Joshua season. And we talked about, let's see, last week we came out of, in the Bible, the books of Joshua. And I'm just going to say the whole book of Joshua, more specifically, Joshua 1, chapters 1 through 6, where they were preparing to enter into the promised land. Moses had died, and the Lord spoke to Joshua and said to them to get ready, that it is time to enter in. And I'm super excited about tonight because we're just going to go further and dig a little bit deeper into your Joshua season to get you ready for what God has for you. And if you ever felt like you're standing on the edge of something big, that God dream, you're maybe making a pivot, that you're wanting to do something different, and God is calling you out, but there's something holding you back: fear, logic, doubt, the unknown. then I want to say to you, if you've been circling around that wall, you're waiting for that moment to move, God is saying to you tonight to enter in, that you're in your Joshua season. And if you're having trouble entering in, I just know that tonight's show is going to help you out a lot. But if you're not entering in, and today what we're going to be talking about is this Joshua season and how it is time for us to enter in. So I want to break all the curses, all barriers, anything that's holding you back. I want to be able to speak to those things tonight, that those things are for you, and you're going to enter your Joshua season. You're going to be fully prepared to enter in and go and get what God has for you in that promised land. And I call today's show a deeper dive into the Joshua season. If you know the story of Joshua, you know it's not about crossing over a river. It's about faith. It's about finally stepping into the promised land and the purpose that God has for you. But there's the thing that with that, when you're walking into that season, before we get ready to make that step, before we get ready to enter in, the doubts, the fears, and all that critical thinking just rises up. And I want to talk to you today about breaking those chains. Entering in isn't something you do alone. It's not just about you and God making a plan and hope it works. It's real faith that causes you to move and believe that it's going to work. And the true faith is it's integral. Things I want to talk to you about tonight: integral faith, interconnected faith, and intentional faith. So if you're feeling stuck and you've been waiting for permission to move forward, if you've been wondering what is actually, what do these actually look like, and what is my Joshua season, then again, this episode is for you. And we're going to break down what integral faith means, why your people matter, why the people that you're moving with mattered. It mattered. God had a set group of people moving and entering into the to cross over into that promised land, and you entering into your Joshua season. The people that you matter, and how you have to be intentional about moving forward. Again, integral, interconnected, and intentional faith. And trust me, by the end of this episode, you're going to feel the shift. You're going to feel change, and you're going to be excited about that season. You're going to be excited about entering in. As we prepare for a new year coming in, you want to have your mind ready for the things that you're going to be stepping into in 2026. And how many of you know that God is able to give you that promised land before we enter into 2026? I know oftentimes when the year is ending, boy, do we get excited and we're thinking about all things new. But there's a certain place of preparation for whatever goals that you have, whatever promises that God has made to you, whatever you've been praying for. There's a place of preparation that you've got to get to. Are you going to be ready to enter in? Are you going to be ready to enter in? So grab your coffee, get comfortable, and let's remove the logic that's been holding you back, because your breakthrough is waiting. It's on the other side of that Jordan, whatever your Jordan River is. Your breakthrough is on the other side. And the Bible backs this up. So let me break it down, because this is where the magic happens. So tonight we're going to talk about, again, integral faith. What do I mean when I say integral faith? I'm glad you asked. Okay, integral faith. Integral faith means whole. That means all of you. You're not taking part of you as you're entering in. You're going to take every part of you. It's bringing all of you, your mind, your body, your spirit, your emotions, your gifts, All of these things coming into alignment with God's purpose for your life. Integral faith. And when you think about that, I know it's easy to compartmentalize where we'll say, okay, God, I'm going to give you my mind. And then today, look, my body, I'll work on that another day. But God is saying, prepare all of you, the whole of you, before you enter in. Surrender the things that you're holding up. You know, I mean, it's so easy for us to compartmentalize and give God just a little bit. Take care of that, God, and I'm going to take care of this. You can't compartmentalize faith. You can't say, I believe God for my career, but I'm anxious about my health. I trust God spiritually, but I'm stressed about my money. That's called fragmented faith. Fragmented faith. In 1 Thessalonians 5:23 says, may God himself, the God of peace, sanctify you through and through. May your whole spirit, soul, body, and body be kept blameless at the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ. Paul is saying that God wants all of you. He wants all of you, all of your spirit, your connection to God, all of your soul, your mind, your will, and your emotions, all of your body, your physical actions, and your health. You can't separate these things. They all work together. It's integral. That's what it is. It's all working together for the whole. And when Joshua comes and you're ready to enter in, you have to bring your whole. You don't want to fragment yourself and say, you know what, I'm going to enter in with this, but I'm going to leave this over here. Can you imagine taking only part of you to 2026 and leaving the rest in 2025? No, you need to take the whole part of you, all of you, your whole self into this Joshua season that you're entering in. Joshua connection. How does this connect with Joshua? Joshua didn't just pray and hope. He prepared his people physically, mentally, and spiritually. He checked their weapons. He checked their supplies. He even checked their mindset. He knew entering into the promised land required all of him. All of his leadership, all of his courage, all of his strategy, and his faith all working together all at once. Joshua 1:8 says, keep this book of the law always on your lips and meditate on it day and night so that you may be careful to do what is in it. Then you will be prosperous and successful. That is where we are. Entering in, you want to see prosperity. You want to be successful. Josh meditated, kept his mind together, speak with his mouth, making those declarations and strategizing and doing the actions of the things that God had commanded him to do, all integrated. It was all working together at once. Again, you don't want to be fragmented going into your Joshua season. You don't want to take, okay, well, leave this foot over here and that foot I'm going to step into the water. I'm going to step by faith and leave one foot planted in something else that God is saying you got to walk out of. Let's just say you feel called to leave a job or start a new business and start your own business. Integral faith looks like, what does it look like to have integral faith? Your spirit, praying, seeking God's guidance, and trusting God's timing. Praying, seeking God's guidance, and trusting God's timing. Integral faith for your mind, taking business courses, creating a business plan, researching the market, learning new skills, learning AI, learning new opportunities, and delving into things that, you know, listening to mentors, listening to people that have already gone before you that can help you to strategize, gaining new wisdoms. When you're taking on this new season, you want to be fully equipped for what God has for you. And then next, the body. getting enough sleep, managing stress, so you're healthy and you are sharp in this new season. And let's talk about emotions, processing your fears, celebrating the small wins, and then staying encouraged. I have a dear cousin that she helps me celebrate my wins. Sometimes I'm just blowing and going and doing, and she'll say, have you stopped to celebrate that? Have you stopped to acknowledge what you're doing or what God is doing done in your life? And most often, I'm like, no, you're right. I haven't. And I'll just take a moment. Of course, thank you. I'm always grateful, but you just sometimes can get so busy that you don't celebrate those small wins. And then the small wins help you to stay encouraged. And one other thing to look at when you're talking about being integral faith is look at your gifts, using your unique talents and skills as a strategy, using the things that make you authentically you. What is it that separates you from the pack? And celebrating those gifts, but not just celebrating, but using them, putting them into action. Putting them into action. Again, integral faith. It means whole, not fragmented, not broken apart. It's bringing all of you into your Joshua season, your mind, your body, your spirit, your emotions, your gifts, all into alignment with God's purpose. What has He promised you in that promised land? But I promise you, you do not want to leave part of you behind. You want to take your whole self in there. Again, your whole self, all integrated, fully integrated. Spirit, mind, body, emotions, and your gifts into this new season. Don't leave anything on the table. And don't leave any stone unturned. Next, I want to talk to you about interconnected faith. And interconnected faith means you're not doing this alone. And somebody ought to be excited about that. I'm always grateful when God gives me those divine helpers, those that will push you over that finish line, those that won't allow you to sit when you're feeling defeated and sit when you're tired, and those that motivate you and inspire you and encourage you. You are not alone doing this. And it's so important that we begin to be more interconnected. I know that we are living in a nation where we are so disconnected. And with all the lies and all the propaganda, we are always challenged with staying connected in the spirit of a human, and just the human spirit, and being encouraging and helpful to one another. But I want to say to you, you are not doing this alone. Whatever your this is, whatever your season of your Joshua season, whatever you're stepping out into, don't do it alone. Challenge yourself to become interconnected. Faith isn't a solo sport. It's not. Yes, we believe, but God already has people divinely designed for, your journey. He sent the disciples out 2 by 2. That means that when one is weak, another one could lift you up and could carry things that maybe the other one couldn't carry, could interpret, catch the revelation that you might miss. So you don't want to enter into this Joshua season alone. Faith isn't a solo sport. It's woven into community. It's woven into relationships, and it's woven into accountability and support. It is so important that when we enter into this Joshua season, that we fully understand that we are not alone and we are not carrying the ball just by ourselves. That, you might be tired, you might be frustrated, you might be in a place where there's some imbalance in your life. But God does not want us to take this journey by ourselves. Again, we are talking about interconnected faith and what it means when you understand you are not doing this alone. When you enter into your Joshua season, when you enter in, you're entering in with people. You're entering in with some family members. You're entering in with your church. You're entering in with your friends, your mentors, your community. Ecclesiastes 4 and 9 and 10 says, two are better than one because they have a good return for their labor. Two are better than one because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, catch this, one can help the other up. But pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. Solomon is telling us in this passage of scripture, he's telling us that life and faith better with people, not by yourself. Again, Solomon is saying to us, life and is better with people. It's good to have someone, because when faith is being tested, when faith is being questioned, you want to have that one around you that can pick you up, the one that can say to you when you're falling down, hey, come on, get up and let's go. And that's what Solomon is telling us in Ecclesiastes in this passage of scripture. Now, what is my Joshua connection here? Joshua didn't cross the Jordan River by himself. He did not cross by himself. Joshua 3 and 7, 8 says, and the Lord said to Joshua, today I will begin to exalt you in the eyes of all Israel, so they may know that I am with you as I was with Moses. When you want to quit, and when you will, it's gonna be some times. There's always a time when we want to quit, when we're tired and we're saying, nothing has happened. I've been doing this, I've been carrying this load, and I've not seen what you promised me, God. But I promise you, you're about to enter into your Joshua season, and you might be in that space now where you're saying, I want to quit. These people remind you why you started. That is why it's so important to have that interconnected faith, because that's what they do. There's always someone there to remind you of why you started, to remind you of why you should keep going. When you make a mistake, they help you to get back up. And when you succeed, they celebrate with you. That's interconnected faith. You may be in a place where you're overcoming an addiction. You may be in a place where you're in a mental health struggle. And I want to say to you tonight, you are not alone. Interconnected faith looks like this. It looks like a therapist. It looks like that church member that will pray for you. It looks like that brother, that sister, that mom, the loved ones that know your struggle, and they will say to you, I am with you, that you are not alone. What does that interconnected faith look like? It looks like those who love you. It looks like those who will go through the struggle with you. That's what interconnected faith looks like. You're not alone. You are in this, and we are here together, just like Remove Logic. I'm here. I'm with you. We are on this journey together, because clearly when I heard enter in, I heard what he was talking to when he was talking to me, that I needed to share this with you, but I've got to get ready too. I've got to get ready to enter in. And so this interconnected place is that place where your loved ones will go through that struggle with you. They're the ones who are going to hold you accountable. They're the ones who are going to sponsor you, mentor you, and the ones who are going to walk that path with you. Those are the ones, that faith community that does not judge. And that's the ones that you want with you, because there's danger in isolation. When we're getting ready to enter in, there is danger in isolation. Proverbs 11 and 14 says, for lack of guidance, a nation falls, but many advisors make victory sure. For lack of guidance, a nation falls, but many advisors make victory sure. Again, that interconnected faith. You want to be connected to someone, look, that's connected to God. You want to be connected to someone that can walk you through, push you through. If you're trying to enter into this Joshua season alone, then you're missing power of the moment. You're missing the all that God has for you, because again, faith is not just a solo sport. Yes, you do have to have faith, but when you get up, God already has that cloud of witnesses, that group that's going to be there, not just watching you, but they're going to cheer you on, and they're going to hold you up when you're wanting to give up. Don't miss this moment by entering in all by yourself. You're missing the power and you're missing the protection, because again, if one falls, thank you, God, that there is someone there that you've appointed, a divine helper that can lift me up. Community keeps you grounded. It keeps you accountable, keeps you encouraged when doubts creep in. Isolation is where the enemy wins, and we don't want to give him any victory as we're entering into this season. You may be facing some financial troubles right now. You may be facing, hey, it's the holidays and ends are not meeting. But I dare you, if you interconnect your faith, let someone know what you're going through. Let someone know what your feelings and your emotions are. No one says, and I'm not saying that it is not valid to have fear. It is not valid to have doubts. It is not valid to have an emotional frustration, anger, whatever it may be. All of those are valid, but I want to encourage you that you begin to be interconnected in your faith. Who is your inner circle? Who's crossing this Jordan with you? Who has God assigned as a divine helper? Who has he given you as support? And more importantly, who are you crossing the Jordan for? One of the things about pivoting, one of the things about reasons why we strategize, there's always a bigger reason. If it's your family, the grandkids, just being encouraged as a whole. Who are you crossing the Jordan for? Because your breakthrough affects more people than just you. And I just need that to resonate with you. Your breakthrough affects more people than you. It's important that we cross this river. It's important that but it's more important we understand that this breakthrough, this in your life is affecting more you. Who's in your faith? There's always somebody watching. I was sharing with someone the other day the importance of stepping out. That when we step out, it causes others to be inspired by the steps of faith that you take. When someone is looking on and they're watching you and they're watching your steps of faith, that's an interconnection that you weren't even paying attention to, but someone has connected with your journey. Someone has connected with your thoughts and your faith, and they're watching your faith. And another thing, who needs to see you step into the promised land? Who needs to see you enter into this new season of your life? It is so important that you keep going, but it's even more important that you know who's going with you. Check your inner circle and don't become isolated entering into this new season. Look around and see who was there all the time and reconnect with that person. The third thing I want to talk to you about, as I said, it is integral faith. It is interconnected faith. And now I want to talk to you about intentional faith. Intentional faith means deliberate, purposeful, strategic. Again, intentional faith. Now, this one is really important because this is really all up to you. Well, it all is, but this here, deliberate, purposeful, and strategic. It is not wishful thinking. It's not hope. God is gonna do something. That's not what it is. It is intentional because you heard a word, And when God said to enter in, that this is the Joshua season, we've got to be intentional about entering in. It is moving toward what God has promised with the faith that it is already done. Again, intentional faith, and moving with the promise that God will do just what he said. When he says to strike out, when he says to enter in, when he says to go, it is time to go. It is not time to lollygag. It is not time to sit and brood over it anymore. He's already made the promise and he's given the charge to move. So we've got to be deliberate. We've got to be purposeful. We've got to move. And again, this is not wishful thinking. This is faith thinking, intentional faith. It is not hope that God does something. It is the announcement, just as Joshua. They had to blow those ram's horns, and that was the announcement to shout. They had a deliberate command from God that they were to march around, and then they were to blow that sound to make, when you hear this sound, you are to shout, and the wall is coming down. There was a deliberate, intentional faith, an intentional action on their behalf. Proverbs 2:21-5. I'm sorry. The plans of the diligent lead to profit, as surely as haste leads to loss. Diligent. You've got to be deliberate. You've got to be diligent, and look, go with the plan of God. Solomon is saying in this passage of scripture that intentional planning leads to success. And we know that. We've heard that over and over and over again. Intentional planning leads to success. Diligence, being deliberate, being strategic, and being purposeful is how you get results. Is how you get that thing that you're moving towards when you're entering in. This isn't being controlling by any means, and it's or not trusting God. It's about partnering with God. Joshua was given a command, and he did. He got the people ready, intentional, deliberate, purposeful, and strategic. And then the strategies that God gave, they operated intentionally based upon what the instructions that were given. And this is about partnering with God in this season. God gives you a promise, and then you take the intentional steps to move forward towards it. And that's what Joshua did. This is our Joshua season, and the Joshua connection for this thing, for intentional. Joshua didn't just wander into Canaan. He didn't. He didn't wander in hoping things would work out. He had an instruction. And Joshua 2:1 says, then Joshua, the son of Nun, secretly sent spies to Shittim. Go look over the land, he said, especially Jericho. Joshua was intentional. He didn't send them. He's in a wayward way where he was wandering. He had an intentional, deliberate, and purposeful strategy. He said, especially Jericho. Joshua was intentional. He sent the spies, he gathered intelligence, and he strategized. He gave clear instructions. Now, I need you to hear that, because you're entering in, whatever your enter in is. You want to gather the intelligence. Again, as I said, you want your mind, body, and your soul, your spirit, and you want all of your gifts to be aligned with what God has for you. And when you're entering in, you want to be able to have the gathered intelligence. You want to have the clarity and the wisdom and the strategy that God has given. Joshua strategized. He gave clear instructions. Those that are entering in with you, God may speak to your heart to say, tell them this. You may have to disseminate some information that you've never shared before. You may have a new revelation. He was deliberate about every step. As God gave them the challenge for what to do, they had to be deliberate about every step. And that's what faith looks like when it is intentional. It looks like an action being taken even before you take it, because your mind is already determined to be deliberate, purposeful, and strategic. It is strategic obedience. It's intentional. You're not just trusting God while sitting on the couch. He said, enter in. That means we've got to get up. We've got to move with an intention. We've got to connect with whomever he has told us to connect with. And then we've got to be ourselves intentional. You're praying, you're preparing, you're believing, and you're building. Those things are in faith. What does that look like? Starting a business. You have a business idea. Intentional faith means vision, that you're getting a clear vision on what you're building and why you're building it. Then you begin to plan, creating a business plan, setting goals, defining the market that you want to move into. Maybe with your finances, it's getting an understanding of the startup costs. It's pricing strategy, revenue model. Where are you currently doing a overview of your current financial situation? And then you move into marketing and planning. How will I reach customers? How build my brand? And then you move into operations. You got to set up systems and tools and hiring help and managing overflow. If you're a one-man band like me, got to be strategic with my health, my mindset, my energy levels. I've got to stay on top because there is more than me connected to the of Remove Logic. So I have to be strategic about what I do. I have to be deliberate about balancing my work life. I have to be deliberate about getting up and operating when I don't feel like doing it because it is me. But God has handed me something and he is in. So then you want to track your growth. You want to adjust strategies where you might be crossing over and then God says, okay, hold on, I need you to do this right now. Not just taking the step, but listening for clear instructions the whole while on the way. And then you're going to be intentionally moving forward, advancing out with purpose. You're not manifesting success. You're working with God for your success. Let me say that again. You're not just manifesting success. You're working with God for your success. You're doing the natural work while he does the supernatural work. But it is integral faith. It is interconnected faith. And then it is intentional faith. I've got to be integral. I've got to have everything to not compartmentalize or fragment my faith when I'm trusting God. When God says enter in, you've got to go with the knowing, and then you've got to be deliberate. I've got to connect where he tells me to connect. He gave Joshua instructions to get the people ready, and that was a interconnection. He had to go and connect with the very people that Moses had been leading. He now had to be the one to give the instruction. And then from you have to not have that interconnected faith. You got to be intentional. I heard what I heard. And when God says what he says, I was telling somebody the other day, I don't debate that. That's enough. And it's enough for me to move. I don't sit and try to get permission, so to speak. I don't sit and try to say, you know what? Hey, well, how do you feel about it? If he says go, you've got to go, and trust that along the way, only God can give, that as you move along the way, he's going to have those divine helpers. He's going to have that divine strategy. He's going to give, a divine reversal. He's going to turn your enemies in one direction while you're moving in another direction. You're going to have that divine protection, but you've got to be connected to God. You got to be connected to what he said. You got to connect with what you've heard. And so that's intentional faith. Examples, even in your wellness, you want to get healthy. So intentional faith means what? If I'm wanting to get my health together, assessing where I am, getting physical, understanding, my baseline, where is my starting point? Creating a realistic fitness and nutritional plan. Accountability. Maybe you want to get somebody to go to the gym with you. Maybe you want to connect, and even joining a gym is accountability. Finding a trainer or getting a buddy, but consistency. Again, being intentional. You've got to show up for you. You've got to be consistent. You've got to do it when you don't feel like doing it. You want to show up regularly. You want to track your progress. You want to make the adjustments that are needed. That is being intentional. You want to get that. This is interconnected. Getting help from professionals. With anything that we do, we want to get wisdom. We want to get with that person that knows more than we know. If you're the only one and the smartest one in the box, honey, I'm going to tell you to invite somebody else in. If you're the only one with a strategy, seek God for a different strategy, new strategies, invite in new wisdoms and new learning, new skills. Don't be the only one going, because again, faith is not a solo sport. That God created us to be integral. He created us to interact with each other. Again, he sent those disciples out 2 by 2. Jesus said 2 by 2. And so you're going to, you're not in it alone. And to have the idea that I'm just working this thing and it's just me. I want to encourage you to change your strategy in that area. You are not alone. You're not alone. Let me see. Okay, so intentional faith. You want to be able to celebrate those marketing milestones. You want to be able to reward the progress and staying motivated. And how do you do that? When you're not motivated, then you'll have someone by your side, by the ones that are crossing over with you. You're not just praying away health issues. And I'm just giving examples of each one of these in different ways, but they can apply across the board for everything. If it's your health, wellness, if it's a career move, if it is a mental health strategy that you need, whatever it is, all of these strategies are across the line, because again, integral, you want to be whole. And I believe in wholeness. I believe that does not build you up in one place and you're torn down in another. No, prosperity is wholeness in every area of your life. So if you see some things that are off balance, some things that you know that God is saying, okay, I need to work on this. You've given me this, but I need you to give me this. I want to encourage you that you give God your whole part, that you become integral in every area and you give it all to God. Align up every area of your life with Him. You are partnering with God. You're not doing this on your own. You're doing the work again while He provides the strength and the results. You're doing the work while God provides the strength, the protection, the provision, the results. That's intentional faith. Intention is what actually moves us into this Joshua season. We've got to be deliberately turned up to move. We've got to be deliberate. We've got to be intentional. We've got to be strategic. But there's a made up mind that nevertheless, no matter what, I'm doing what God said do, I'm entering in this season. One of the things I would like for you to reflect on, what's one intentional step that you can take this week towards your Joshua season? It doesn't have to be a big leap. It doesn't have to be a large step. It could be just a step in your mind to make the decision that you're going to do it. It could be just an intentional decision that, you know what, I heard something tonight and it's moving me to align with God's purpose for my life. What's one intentional step that you can take this week towards your Joshua season? Just one deliberate move that says, I'm entering in. I'm entering in. And then actually doing it. Don't just have it swimming around in your mind, but make it a deliberate move. Make it an intentional move. Make it a strategic move. Something that maybe you've been putting off and laid to the side that you need to pick back up. And maybe it's a doubt, it's a fear that you might need to cast off. That's an intentional moment even in itself. But don't just about it. I want you to do it. To do it, whatever it is. So here's what I want for you, family. I want you, my Remove Logic community, This is your Joshua season. I know what I heard. And like I said, when I hear it, that's enough for me, and I'm moving on it. It is time for us to enter in. And this is what your Joshua season requires. It requires what? Integral faith. Bring all of you. Don't compartmentalize any part of you. Give a whole of you, not just in your prayers, but you to do it with your mind, with your body, and with your spirit, your emotions, and your gifts. Pull it all together for this season. In 1 Thessalonians 5:23, it reminds us that God wants your whole self and blameless. And what is he saying here? You can't compartmentalize. You show up fully. You got to show up fully committed. You've got to show up and say, God, I'm trusting you, even with the things that I've been holding on to for the last year, that I'm going to now give you all of me, every part of me. And then another thing, as I said, your Joshua season requires an interconnected faith. Bring your people, not just your hopes. Bring the right people with you. Check your inner circle. Ecclesiastes 4:9 says, two are better than one. You need community. You need accountability. You need mentors. You need cheerleaders. You need all of that. You need volunteers. You need support. You can't do this alone. God never designed us to do anything by ourselves. He's always got somebody connected to whatever his plan is for your life. There's always someone else connected. He never designed us to do it alone. Your breakthrough is meant to be shared. Your breakout is meant to be shared. It is meant to be celebrated, not just with you, but with others. And the last thing that your Joshua season requires is intentional faith. What is that? Once again, bring your strategy, bring your A game. You are about to enter in, and you need to bring your A game, not just your dreams, but bring your strategy. Proverbs 21:5 says, the plans of the diligent lead to profit. Let that sit in your spirit. The plans of the diligent lead to profit. You are not just hoping and praying. You are planning and doing. You're partnering with God, and you are moving out in formation for what God has for you. It is time to enter in. He gives you the promise, and you take the steps. God gives us the promise, but we have to take the steps. When you combine these three things, you want to have the integral faith. You want to have that interconnected faith, and you want to have intentional faith. When you combine these three things, that's when you are truly ready to enter in. That's when fear loses its grip. That's when it does not get the final say. Again, remove logic. It does not have the final say. And that's when God's promises become your reality. It is time for you to enter in. You're not standing on the edge anymore. He said enter in. That means you've been standing there longer, and God is saying that it's time to it's time to move in a forward formation. You're stepping into the water, and the moment your foot touches that Jordan, everything changes. The moment that your foot touches the Jordan River, whatever your Jordan River is, step is, the moment your foot touches that water, everything changes, because you're stepping in what? Whole. You're stepping in with people, and you're stepping in with purpose. Let me say that again. You're stepping in whole. You're stepping in with people, and you're stepping in with purpose. That's what the Joshua season looks like. This is your Joshua season, and it's time for you to in. You want to enter in fully. You want to enter in with the right people, and you want to enter in with purpose. Family, we covered a lot today, and I know it was a lot, and I hope that you got some. But if you want to carry anything into your new season, you want to carry integral faith. You want to carry an interconnected faith, and you also want to carry an intention. You know that this is your season. If I'm talking to you, what I'm saying to you, walk in it, but you want to walk in fully equipped. We talked about the power of community. We talked about that interconnected faith. talked about being intentional in faith. We talked about actually doing something instead of just hoping for something. We talked about moving beyond praying for it and moving on it. Here's what I want you to remember. Anything as far as this episode, you are not standing on the edge anymore. That's that point. He said, enter in. And you are now clearly stepping into the water. God didn't give you the promise to tease you. That is not our God. He didn't show it to you away, show it to you and pull it away. No, God is not teasing you. He didn't put the vision in your heart just to frustrate you. I need to say that again because I know that we get frustrated. God didn't put that vision in your heart just to frustrate you. He put it there because he's ready and you're ready. And it's time that you move on it because he's already made the way. He put it in you because you're ready and he's already made the way. Your Joshua season is real. It's real. He said, enter in. Your breakthrough is real. He said, enter in. And it's time. And remember, God is not bound by logic or logistics. So whatever the logical things, the things that you may be talking yourself out of, whatever you may be circling around, it's time for you to blow that ram's horn and shout because he said, enter in. If he's calling you to enter in, what does that mean to you? It means he's already made the way. Faith over fear always. Remove logic always. God is not bound by logic or logistics. He is able to do exceedingly and abundantly above all that you can ask or think, all that you can imagine, according to what? The power that is at work within you. You got to do your part. Step out. This is Remove Logic Show, and I'm your host, Karen Ray Lacey. We are here and we're ready to move. We have removed logic. We've come through a year, like I said, 2025 has had its own vibe, but we are moving forward. We are still here. We made it, and God simply said, enter in. Where we remove logic, we know that God is not bound by logic or logistics. Anything that is holding you back, we want to cast that off and embrace faith that moves you forward. Thank you so much for joining me and being here. I look forward to seeing you again next week. I'm so excited about Christmas and this holiday season. Don't let it stress you out. Remove logic. Do what you can. Start where you are. Start where you are and do what you can. Thank you so much for trusting me again. And I hope that this episode has blessed you to be integral. And that you are going to be intentional as you're entering in. And thank you so much for being a part of the Remove Logic community. If you like, subscribe, share, and share this episode with someone that is you clearly know they're in their Joshua season. I'll see you guys next week, same time. Have a wonderful weekend.